Welcome to the Masterclass today on marketing data ingestion and analysis made easy. This Masterclass has been hosted by Innovation in collaboration with Rivery. I'm Kaveri Das, VP Strategy and Growth at Innovation. I would be moderating the session today. So before we begin, a warm welcome to all of you to today's Masterclass. Hope you have a great session with a lot of learnings and takeaways. If at all you have any questions, please feel free to post them on the Zoom chat. Our experts will take those questions at the end of the session. So, coming back to today's topic on simplifying marketing, data ingestion, and analysis. So, we all know what the pandemic did to us, right? It actually ushered us into an unprecedented digital acceleration. Everything went online from, our payments to shopping to even education. But what it did actually was it led to huge volumes of data being generated and at a pace which was even faster than the revenue that was being generated. So that led to the rise of various marketing channels and a requirement of constant updation of marketing APIs. It sounds complicated. It is complicated. Also, because there's a significant dearth of data engineers to do all of this heavy lifting. It's not easy. So it's very important. It's imperative that we have a plug and play solution that helps us with all of this. And today's session is exactly on that. So let me introduce you to our speakers today. We have with us Kevin Bartley, Head of Content at Rivery. Kevin essentially researches, communicates, propagates the value of Rivery to diverse audiences across multiple mediums. He's also an alumni of Harvard University. Joining us is Alex Rolnick. He's the solutions architect at Rivery with over 10 years of experience in data management. He holds an MS from the University of Wisconsin. And we also have Morley Ben David from yellowHEAD, one of Rivery's most tech first and coveted clients. Morley is the head of technology, and he will speak about how the entire ETL/ELT process was made simpler by using Rivery's pre-built data model. So now moving ahead, Kevin requests you to please take the masterclass forward and share your insights. Over to you, Kevin.
Great. Thanks so much, Kaveri. And thanks to everyone for joining. We have a great masterclass planned for you. And I wanted to start by talking about data-driven marketing and where are we today with the pandemic. As Kaveri set the stage, where are we in terms of data-driven marketing? So if you look at the data here, marketers have more data than ever before about consumer behavior, customer profiles, intent, and countless other signals. There's no real debate over whether data-driven marketing is more effective and impactful, but the actual numbers, when you look at them, are still pretty striking. So companies with data-driven marketing are 6 times more likely to be profitable year over year. And that's a key reason why 40% of brands are planning to increase data-driven marketing budgets. However, this isn't simply a data volume problem. 87% of marketers say data is the most underused asset in their company. So marketers are sitting on troves of raw data that they can't leverage because they lack the expertise and technology to convert that data into valuable assets. Okay, so marketing data has never been more important, but getting the right data at the right time to the right stakeholder is still a challenge. Now, where do many teams get their marketing data from? Marketing APIs. The problem, these are some of the most rapidly changing APIs in use today. Every time an API is updated, teams need to manually update the data connectors that carry data into a data warehouse. This process is time consuming and resource draining, and often marketing teams don't even have the expertise to do this. So just how rapidly are marketing APIs updated? Well, since 2020, the top 5 most updated marketing APIs were updated a combined 125 times, and that's just the top 5. So if you're doing all these updates manually, you're not only wasting time building out these data connectors, you're also not accessing the data you need, all of the data that you need. And this is a big problem, not just for marketing team members, but also, as we're going to see, at the C level and also for the company overall. So marketing APIs aren't just an engineering problem, even though a lot of the times people think of them that way. At the C level, this includes, the CEO, the CTO, the CMO, CDO, and other C level positions. There are a number of problems that marketing APIs can pose. So you have, like I just said, the fast changing APIs. Teams can't keep up with and, lose competitive data because of the rapid changes. You have the waste in time and resources. Teams, could be focusing on other tasks, but they're building out these data connectors. So it's really hurting your efficiency. You lose visibility and performance. You can't prove the value of your campaigns and what you're working on, which hurts budgeting and strategic decisions. And there's just too much data, like anything else. There's the data fire hose, as people say, that overwhelms your resources, and you actually can't generate insights because there's so much data. Then you have the constantly changing demands. You have the new data sources are difficult to set up and integral to scale and difficult to scale. So if you're at the C level, you're having problems at a team and department level with a lot of these issues. And then, there are the problems that causes for the company with scalability, efficiency, accuracy, continuity, decision making. This all leads and compounds on each other and can lead to, poor decision making, operations disrupted. So this isn't just, data engineers in the trenches dealing with these issues. This is a company wide and or organization wide, department wide issue. Okay. So to answer our brain teaser, we have a brain teaser set up for you, a little fun bit of trivia for today. Um, we wanted to sort of keep you engaged throughout this. So a question that we have is, when was the Facebook API first released? And you can cheat if you want, but we want this to be fun. So think about this. Respond in the Q&A, and at the end we're gonna pick a winner. You're gonna get a prize. So just stay tuned to the end to see what the answer is. And you will win a prize if you're the lucky one who guesses right. So just to cover sort of the state of marketing APIs in 2021. So right now, Covery touched on this, but you have the COVID-19 leading to unprecedented digital acceleration. So at the beginning of 2020, COVID-19 unleashed a wave of unprecedented digital acceleration. According to McKinsey, consumers actually crammed 5 years of digital adoption into the first 8 weeks of the COVID crisis. So this rapidly accelerated a trend that was already underway, which was a move towards digital marketing channels. And so marketing APIs again became more important than ever. And we saw that bear out over the course of the pandemic. Of course, you have the growth of new marketing channels. Many digital marketing channels continue to grow, and others continue to emerge, making it harder for data teams to stay on top of all the new data sources. And this can vary from market to market. For instance, our friends in innovation who are located in India, in 2020, Instagram users in India actually jumped 66%. So it went from 77 million unique end users to 129 million. Uh, and India now has the largest Instagram user base in the world at 180 million users. So that's why data teams need to maintain a scalable and dynamic process for implementing new marketing APIs, because the market and the needs of business users can change fast. Uh, Now here's the big one. This is the one that's keeping digital marketers up at night, and digital agencies, which our friends at yellowHEAD are going to talk about in a moment, up at night, which is Apple's iOS 14. Now iOS 14 introduced what's called app tracking transparency, which basically just means that mobile apps are now required to track users, or they need consent to track users rather. So, that little screen that pops up on your iPhone that says, do you consent to be tracked? A lot of people are saying, no, I don't. And that's creating a blind spot for a lot of digital marketers, and it's disrupting, the digital ad industry. So throughout the years, ad platforms were frantically updating their APIs to adjust to the new reality. And many teams didn't have the resources to handle all of these updates. and they ended up losing visibility into their digital marketing channels. So it's been a huge headache, and digital agencies are dealing with it right now, which Yellowhead is going to talk about in a moment. So taken together, these broader trends have contributed to a dilemma, and that's what we've talked about earlier, which is the constant marketing API updates. If you're using a few marketing APIs, maybe it's possible to do manual updates on the data connectors, but for the most part, you're flying blind in some of that data, so you're losing visibility, and ultimately, that's your bottom line. That's hurting your tracking, that's hurting your targeting, and you're losing revenue because of that. So that's a big issue for anyone who's in digital marketing. Uh, so one more thing I wanted to show you was marketing API version benchmarks, which we did in our ebook, the data developers reference guide to marketing APIs. What we did was we, you know, took a bit on our methodology here on how we measured all of this. We measured how teams use marketing APIs by leveraging anonymized data from our global customer base. So that's, hundreds of companies in dozens of sectors. We anonymized all the data. We couldn't tell who was using what, but we could see the amount of data being used and the popularity of the APIs. And we turned that into a report. So, we had the most popular APIs, which was ranked by the number of Rivery accounts using an API, and most data usage, which was ranked by sort of the all-time data throughput on an API, which we were able to look at. And then you also had the most frequently pulled. This is ranked by average API data pulls per day. So we had quite a bit of information, all of it anonymous, of course, but it gave us a really good overview of how these APIs are actually being leveraged by real companies and top companies in the field. So just to give you a quick run through of what we found, most popular marketing APIs. Number one we found was Facebook ads. Number two, Google AdWords. Number three, Google Ads. Number four is Bing. Number five was LinkedIn ads. So just a little breakdown there on some interesting insights. At position one, Facebook ads is actually more than doubled the next closest API in terms of top popularity. So it's massively popular. It's being used by just about all of our customers on some level. And but what we found is interesting when we actually looked at the data and why that was happening. You see that Google has several different APIs right now that developers and digital marketers are leveraging, which skews the ranking actually. So you have the AdWords API, which is actually sunsetting in 2022, and the Google Ads API, which Google wants people to move over to, which will likely absorb those users. So it's kind of a skewed result, and we'll probably see more customers moving over towards Google Ads in the near future. And then one I wanted to highlight was Bing in position four. Sometimes people forget about Bing, but it's not. It actually makes sense when you consider the cost effectiveness of Bing campaigns. Bing cost per click is actually 70% less than AdWords, and it serves about 63 million people not served by Google. So when people say Bing only has 2% of the search market, well, the search market is massive when you're talking on a global scale. So you're talking about billions of users at that point. So 2%, comes out to 60, 70 million people, and you have the cost per click. It's really cheap. And it actually makes sense that people are using this. Um, so most data usage by API, again, you have the Facebook ads. Number two is Google AdWords. Number three is Coachella. Number four is Taboola. Number five is Twitter ads. So taking another look at this, again, Facebook claims position number one. That's no surprise. If you actually look, it has four out of the five most popular API reports. But this is interesting. This is really interesting. AdWords, which we talked about earlier, actually has a 569% higher data usage than Google Ads. So companies have integrated Google Ads, but they're waiting on AdWords to sunset to make the full change, which I thought was really interesting. And then you have Taboola at position four, and that's because a small number of users are using the API really heavily. But so some interesting insights on the Google APIs and how people are using them. So then you have the most frequently pulled APIs. Number one is Klaviyo. Number two is Google Play. Number three is TikTok. Number four is Facebook Social. And number five is Snapchat ads. So Klaviyo takes position one. Why is that? Well, Klaviyo users need to frequently refresh data to generate conversions, especially the events report. Then you have another interesting one at Google Play at position two. A handful of accounts are using the ag report very heavily, which skews the API level result. And then you have the TikTok vaulting to position three with the ad groups report. So there's a lot of interesting data that we found, and we want to talk more in depth about it. So I'm going to turn it back to Kavari, who's going to introduce yellowHEAD and show you how our customers are actually using marketing data right now.
Thanks, Kevin. I think that was great and insightful. I really did not expect Bing to feature in the list of top APIs, but I think the fact of the matter is simple that data is the new oil. We need to consolidate data, we need to get the right kind of insights. And on a lighter note, if you have wrong data ingestion, wrong data insights, it would definitely give sleepless nights to the C class because nobody can live with wrong data. So moving on, we have a use case. Of course, it will be taken up by Morley. And I think it will be extremely relevant for our audience and for this session. But before getting into the details, Morley, would you please share a few words about your company and about the business model?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Cool. So yellowHEAD is a very tech-oriented performance marketing company and agency. We have offices both in Israel, US, and Europe, and more than 130 employees already, and over 600 brands throughout the years, and a lot of awards, as you can see at the bottom. Um, so the company gives services in a lot of different fields in the world of marketing. The main one would be user acquisition, a lot of social acquisition, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, a lot of social, but also search like Google and Bing, and direct media buying. We have organic department, SEO, we also a very big creative studio. So we really give an on and on services in the world of marketing.
Right. So it looks like that you really offer different types of services, Morley. So what are the challenges or what were the challenges that you were experiencing with this kind of a business model? If you could just talk about that a little.
Sure, yeah. So I think the challenge is just like Kevin introduced at the beginning. I'm not sure that all the companies, all the clients of Rivery are handling all of them, but we are really a heavy client that work with a lot of customers, and each one of them decide to advertise somewhere else, probably in a combination. So we, as the technology team in this agency that works both internal and external, we need to support and to connect to all of these ad networks. Each one has its own reports, each one has its own techniques, and we need to be able to analyze all of their data. But that's only what happens inside the ad network. If we're an agency and we want to mix them and we want to track lower funnel events, like what's happening outside of the ad network, we also need to connect to some kind of mobile tracking applications or web. So we have the famous AppsFlyer, Adjust, Branch. I just have to say we have much more ad networks and mobile tracking companies that we connect to, even more than we're seeing here. And obviously, we need also to store data. I think that the main challenge is not only everything I said so far, is that there is a mix. We can work with Facebook, and one client will work with AppsFlyer and the other one with Adjust. And then it starts to become a metrics. And basically, you can imagine that even if we have only 10 ad networks, and we need to multiply it by 5 mobile tracking and web tracking applications, and then different types of data storages, then we really need a tool that is that flexible to be able to connect to all of these in the different situations and combinations and to do it successfully. And that's the challenge that we have both in the product and in the service.
Right. So apart from flexibility, Well, were there other things that you were exactly looking out for while choosing Rivery as your as your main solution for all the ELT slash ETL as a ELT slash ETL platform?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there are solutions in the market. I think what you need to ask yourself is two things. Basically, how a tool can support my ongoing needs and how it can support my growth needs for the future. I will start with the ongoing ones. I believe that everyone will connect to this kind of problems. First of all, we need a platform that is stable, available all the time, serverless, hopefully. You don't need to handle it all the time and sometimes see that it falls down. You need the ability to scale and not to be limited to low number of connections or even medium, and then you grow. It needs to be simple, especially if you work with more and more platforms. You don't have the time to study each one and spend a lot of efforts. If you're stuck, you do want to have some documentation. And I can say that Rivery has great guides with lots of screenshots that help us a lot. And you need support sometimes. You need somebody that you can actually talk to and send a question and hear what's going on in the market, maybe sometimes from them. And so also the support of Rivery is great. If we're looking forward on the growth part of things, the market is changing all the time and I want to be prepared. So I need to know that the solution that I'm working with doesn't support only what I have now, but also if there is a new ad platform coming this year, we had the TikTok busting. We need to be able to adjust quickly and to know that this company, this tool is going to be with us. There are reports coming out all the time. iOS 14 generated a lot of reports. The API changes. Also, Facebook likes to change their reports every few days, but not only them. And we need, again, a solution that is up to speed with all these changes. And sometimes we want to do things alone. I really like that feature with Rivery as well. We're not only limited to the connectors and the solutions available within Rivery, we're also very independent. And if there is a small tool that we want to connect to and nobody else is using it, and obviously we're not expecting Rivery to develop it, but they have a solution where we are able to generate our own API connection. And that way we are fully flexible, whether we want to trust them and to help us and whether we want to be independent. And I really like that it supports all of these issues in one.
Right. Completely agree with you on this, Molly. I think, the need of the hour is, a system which is robust, proactive, constantly updating themselves, and a team who is always at your service, right? Specifically, talking about the iOS 14 update, you just showed a slide which I think you deal with some 600 brands. So, how did you kind of deal with updating the whole process? Because I think it should have been massive. So, could you talk about that a little? I think it would be great and insightful for our audience.
Of course, of course. And so I mentioned a few of these things. And one of the challenges that we had this year is TikTok popping up and in amazing speed. And if you want to be first in the market, you need to have the data. You need to be able to do all the technical work. So again, we really took it as a project and immediately added this connection, and we were able to connect it with every other mobile partner. So we were luckily one of the first agencies to have full support in all of our BI and product inside the product. iOS 14 obviously is the most famous one. I don't think there is any network who didn't change or didn't offer a new report or reports. So another big project that we really put in the top of their priorities and developed really fast. And it was great for us. We really needed it. Also a lot of guidance. And we had some local projects that we did internally in the company with an ERP system called Priority, very famous in Israel. And then we wanted to do just an internal, not marketing campaign. We wanted to do a finance project internally, and we connected using this self-service API ability. So this is just examples of the challenges we had this year. Regarding the brands that we work with, I think each one of them has different challenge that they like to face up with. And we study a lot from them, and they teach us a lot of this. I think that the connection with the brands makes us very professional, and together with Rivery, we become together very professional. And so that's what we're doing.
Great. Thank you so much, Molly, for sharing the insights. Yeah, I think these are few of the verticals you work across, right?
Yeah. Each one here is a crazy solution we had to come with. So a lot of experience.
Great. So, I mean, I think it was very important to know the challenges which you faced and how you tackled all of them with Rivery as a partner by your side throughout, giving you the services. And I think our audience, our audience can draw a lot of learnings from this and put this to use. Thank you so much, Molly.
Okay.
Right. Moving ahead, we have Alex now, who's a solution architect at Rivery, and he will talk to us and give us a very short demo about Rivery's data model kits. Alex, over to you.
Hey everyone, thanks Howard for the introduction. Um, so my name's Alex. I am a solutions architect at Rivery, and I help build out solutions within the tool that help reduce the time to value for our clients. Um, so within Rivery, we believe that the pre-built data models that we've developed will be the next essential tool in the ELT industry, because it's no longer about just getting instant data. It's about getting instant insights from that data. These pre-built data models that I just mentioned in Rivery are called kits. And on the screen here, you can see just a screenshot of what the kit console looks like within the Rivery platform. So now, what is a kit? So we think that a kit is a fully built data model that includes everything you need to create an ELT pipeline instantly. It includes the data capture or ingestion from a single or multiple data sources. It includes pushing the data to your data warehouse, creating the destination tables and metadata, transforming and preparing the data, as well as it has a scheduling feature to run on certain cadences. And we build them to solve the most common use cases that we see in the industry. So now so why would clients come and use the kits in Rivery? First, they offer instant insights. They are a pre-built data model that you can easily run from start to finish and immediately start analyzing the data. There's no maintenance with these kits, so the APIs are always updated in the backend of Rivery, so you don't need to worry about that. We also build these with the industry best practices in mind. So we add in, the most common metrics to any of the data models, as well as, any sort of combination of tables or fields that are being used across our clients. We add it to these kits as well. And probably the main reason these kits are used is because they're so easy to use that anyone on any of our clients' teams can use them, from a data engineer to an executive C-level suite to just a marketing analysis. So we wanted to show this slide just because it's a great representation of how a kit starts and finishes, goes from end to end. So basically what we have on the side is our API sources from Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, going to our data warehouse, and within the data warehouse, doing some orchestration or transformation of the data that we pulled in from the API sources. And then on the right side, you can see that we also have something called a reverse ETL, which is basically pushing data from our data storage to a certain REST API or another sort of source API, where this example is pushing a data from your data warehouse to Tableau to update a data source. So with that, I would like to start the short demo for Rivery. So let me just share my screen real quick. Great. So the screen that you can see here is the main kit hub that we work on in our Rivery website. So this isn't in the actual Rivery console, but if you are a current client or not a current client, you can still come to this kit hub and see what kits are available within our tool. If you scroll down, there's a long list of different sources to different data warehouses that we have, like our Snapchat marketing, our Twitter ads, and then have some Tableau refresh dashboard kits. We have a number of different kits that we've come up with, and we are continuously making new ones and taking requests from clients or internal requests. So this is definitely being built out more, but this is a great start to what we think is going to be an increasingly necessary tool in the ELT industry. So with that being said, I wanted to move over to our actual Rivery platform. So this is the kit console within Rivery, where you can see a list of the different kits that we have, from our modular marketing logic kit, to our LinkedIn ads, Snapchat, Tableau, and the list goes on. So what I wanted to do for everyone today was go through an example of how to use a kit, just to show everyone how easy it is to get a pre-built data model and start using the data instantly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for our Facebook to Snowflake kit, and then click preview. And here you can see all of the information that goes with the kit. So first, a short description of what it does and how it's used. Next is what is involved in the kit. So what ports we're pulling from Facebook, as well as if there's any logic orchestration. And then you could click here to see more of the data model and the data flow. And then from on the bottom, you can see a step-by-step configuration of the kit. So how do you add your variables to your account to make it more dynamic? And then all the way at the bottom, you can see again our data model for the kit and our data flow. So how data flows from Facebook itself through to your data warehouse. So once you're ready to use the kit, you can select the Use Kit button, which will bring you to a connections portal. And within the connections portal, you're able to select any of the pre-built connections you have, as well as add a new connection if you need. And then once you have those selected, you can click next. And what it'll do is it'll download the kits or download the rivers that are attached to the kit to your account. So you can see what rivers are being used, how they're being used. And if you need to make any changes, you can also do it to these rivers. So you can see here that we're pulling in 6 different standard ingestion rivers, as well as 1 master logic orchestration river. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this logic orchestration river and see how it's pulling the data and how the flow is going into our data warehouse. So what this is doing, it's first pulling these 6 standard reports from Facebook. So our insights report, our ad creatives report, ads, ad sets, campaigns, and ad accounts. So the logic will first run these 6 reports and then move down to this last step, which is just a SQL step that's run inside of our data warehouse. So the point of this step is to actually build that combined data model with all of the data that we just pulled from Facebook. So you can see here that we have a long query of making the data usable and friendly for everyone to use on as immediately as possible. So what this is doing, it looks a little daunting, but that's why we do it for you in the kits. We're basically taking Facebook's unstructured data and structuring it into a sort of easy to use normal columns and rows table. So once you're ready for all of this data to be ingested into your data warehouse, the next step is to just click run on your logic orchestration river. This will start the river, run all of the reports, and run this last SQL step, and eventually will bring you into your data warehouse, and we'll show you. Basically, we did this yesterday, so you didn't have to stay on the screen watching it run. But this is how the data comes out, and like I said before, it's a very structured normal table that you can start analyzing data with immediately. So this is the output of the Facebook ads kit. Now we have a number of other kits that I can go through for days on here. I'll just highlight a few. We have our modular marketing logic kit, which basically pulls together different single source marketing kits like our LinkedIn ads, our Snapchat marketing, and our Facebook ads kits into a single data model where you're able to analyze all three of them at once in one table. So that's really cool. And then I also wanted to bring up this Tableau refresh kit where it's like I said before, a sort of reverse ETL kit where you can pull data from your data warehouse and update a dashboard within Tableau based on a data source that you're refreshing. So for instance, this is what we do with the Facebook ads Rivery data. So like I said before, we're in Snowflake here. We have our fact table. And then if we use this Tableau refresh kit, we can then use it and then see the benefits of this immediately in Tableau, how, the data is now up to date as much as possible. And we can see the different Facebook information as clearly, as we want. So those are just some great kits that are already out in Rivery, and we're always coming out with more. And happy to talk further about it if anyone has any questions.
Alex, we do have a few questions, and I think you made it look very simple. I mean, 45 minutes from click to Tableau dashboard is something, it seems surreal. I mean, but kudos to your team for actually accomplishing that. So I think I'll take the questions here itself. So the first question says, how long does it take to launch a kit?
So we think that from, when you click use kit in the kit preview to getting the data in your data warehouse, it should take up to 45 minutes. And that's, way down from creating your own rivers and doing it without using a kit.
Right. The second question says, can you modify a kit once launched?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you definitely can modify a kit once it's launched. As I showed before, when you download the kit, you can see the rivers within your account. You can also go into those rivers and edit them however you'd like. You can change table names. You can add or remove columns. I would just say be careful with updating the SQL logic, just because we've taken time to get it to where we know it works. But if you're confident in your SQL ability and you want to do a couple customizations, it's definitely possible.
Great. I can see there are a few more questions, but those have been answered during the presentation. So I'll be skipping that. So great. So this brings us to the end of the masterclass. Thanks, Kevin, Alex, Molly, for this insightful session. I'm sure now many of us, we have much more clarity and we are better prepared, so to say, to tackle data ingestion better and make this whole ETL/ELT process more streamlined. The recording will be shared through email. We will also be posting it on the Rivery and Onivation LinkedIn and Twitter site. So please follow us and write to us if you want more information. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great evening.